Every year, American drivers hand approximately $500 million to dealerships, tire shops, and quick lube chains for a service that charges between $5 and $30 per tire to fill their tires with a gas that their tires are already 78% full of. The service has a compelling name. It has a proprietary color-coded valve cap. It has a laminated wall chart showing racing cars and aircraft. And it has a sales pitch so polished and so consistently delivered that the majority of American drivers who have paid for it, and tens of millions have, stay with me. I'm Tyler Williams. Most people know me as Motor Grease Monkey. 15 years in garages, filling tires, fixing leaks, and watching people pay for things they don't actually need. And today we're talking about nitrogen tire inflation, and why it might be the easiest $80 a dealer ever made. That service is nitrogen tire inflation, and the gap between what the industry claims it delivers and what independent science actually measures it delivering is one of the most profitable distances in the entire automotive upsell business. Today we are going to close that gap. We are going to look at the actual chemistry, the actual physics, the actual Consumer Reports data, and the actual AAA findings. And then we are going to show you exactly what $80 worth of nitrogen buys you in the real world, measured in the only unit that matters. To the average driver sitting in a service waiting room. So, actual tire pressure. Actual results on an actual road. Here is the pitch. You have heard it, or you will hear it the next time your car goes in for service. The service advisor leans across the counter and explains that nitrogen molecules are larger than oxygen molecules, which means they escape through the tire wall more slowly, which means your tire stays inflated longer, which means you get better fuel economy, better handling, better tire life, and reduced risk of blowout. They will tell you that Formula One uses nitrogen. They will tell you that aircraft use nitrogen. They will show you the green valve caps that signal a properly serviced vehicle. They will hand you an invoice for $80 and send you on your way with the quiet confidence that comes from delivering a pitch so frequently that it has stopped feeling like a pitch. Every single claim in that pitch is technically true, and taken together, they add up to something that Consumer Reports, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, and AAA have all independently measured and described in identical terms. A benefit so small in real-world driving conditions that it is functionally indistinguishable from the result you would get by inflating your tires correctly with the air compressor at your nearest petrol station for free. Here is the science, and this is where the pitch falls apart. The air in the Earth's atmosphere, the air you breathe, the air that has been inflating vehicle tires since the first pneumatic tire was developed in 1888, is already 78% nitrogen. When you pay a tire shop to fill your tires with nitrogen, you are paying them to replace the 22% of your tire's internal volume that is not already nitrogen. You are not replacing the gas. You are upgrading the minority fraction of a gas mixture that is already predominantly what they are selling you. The jump from 78% nitrogen, free air, to 95% nitrogen, the level a typical tire shop's nitrogen generator achieves, represents a change in the gas composition of your tire of 17 percentage points. Not a complete replacement, a marginal adjustment of the final fifth. The nitrogen molecule is larger than the oxygen molecule. That is true. A nitrogen molecule measures approximately 300 picometers in diameter. An oxygen molecule measures approximately 292 picometers. That is a size difference of 2.6%. The theoretical basis for nitrogen's slower permeation through tire rubber, the scientific foundation of the entire sales pitch, rests on a molecular size difference of 2.6%. The tire wall is not discriminating between these molecules at a level that produces a commercially meaningful result. In a passenger vehicle driven on normal roads at normal speeds, over a normal ownership period, Consumer Reports ran the test, not in a laboratory on a computer model. In the real world, with 31 different tire models, purchased new inflated to 30 psi, one tire per model with air, one with nitrogen at 95% purity. They set the tires outdoors and measured pressure retention over 12 months. The result was not dramatic. The air-inflated tires lost an average of 3.5 psi over the year. The nitrogen-inflated tires lost an average of 2.2 psi over the same period. The difference between the two, after an entire year of outdoor exposure, was 1.3 psi, 1.3 pounds per square inch, over 12 months. Consumer Reports' own tire program manager, Ryan Pszczalkowski, concluded that, while nitrogen has some advantages, both nitrogen and air-filled tires lose pressure over time, and that it is important for car owners to routinely check their tire pressure, regardless of which gas is used. The organization also expressed concern that drivers who pay for nitrogen may check their tire pressure less frequently, operating under the false impression that the nitrogen fill has made pressure monitoring unnecessary. That false sense of security, according to the findings, represents a safety risk that partially offsets whatever marginal benefit the slower pressure loss provides. AAA reviewed the same question and concluded that, since nitrogen does not completely eliminate temperature-related pressure changes under normal driving conditions, it is of little benefit to vehicle owners who properly maintain their tires. The NHTSA's own laboratory report found that inflating with nitrogen in place of air had little or no direct effect on tire rolling resistance performance. Rolling resistance is the primary mechanism through which tire pressure affects fuel economy. The claim that nitrogen improves fuel economy rests on the argument that it maintains tire pressure better than air, and that better pressure produces lower rolling resistance. The NHTSA measured that second link in the chain and found it absent. At the same correct pressure, a nitrogen-filled tire and an air-filled tire have identical rolling resistance. The fuel economy benefit exists only if you are comparing a properly inflated nitrogen tire to an underinflated air tire. It disappears entirely when you compare properly inflated nitrogen to properly inflated air. Now here is the racing argument, because it is the most persuasive one in the pitch, and the one most worth dismantling directly. Formula One uses nitrogen. NASCAR uses nitrogen. Aircraft use nitrogen. The implication is clear. The highest performance applications in the world have chosen nitrogen. And if it is good enough for a Formula One car, it is good enough for your Camry. That implication is built on a misunderstanding of why those applications use nitrogen. A misunderstanding that the tire industry has been financially incentivized to leave uncorrected. Racing teams use nitrogen for two primary reasons that have nothing to do with molecular permeation through tire walls. First, nitrogen is an inert, non-flammable gas that can be transported safely in high-pressure bottles and stored in the pit lane without requiring electrical infrastructure. In a racing environment where a compressor would require a generator, nitrogen tanks allow instant inflation and pneumatic tool operation anywhere in the pit without additional equipment. Second, in aircraft applications, where a tire must survive the temperature difference between a cruising altitude of -60 degrees Celsius and a runway landing in 35-degree tropical heat, the moisture-free property of pure nitrogen prevents the water vapor in regular air from condensing inside the tire during descent, which would cause unpredictable pressure spikes on touchdown. These are real engineering concerns in specific high-stress applications. They are not engineering concerns in a passenger vehicle driving between a suburban home and an office car park at 70 miles per hour. A detailed molecular analysis found that the weight difference between all four tires filled with nitrogen versus air amounts to approximately 0.37 grams, roughly 1/8 the weight of a ping-pong ball, and that the actual performance advantages claimed for passenger vehicle nitrogen inflation, including improved steering, handling, braking, and reduced chance of tire failure, are true for properly inflated tires, regardless of the gas used to fill them. Here is the part of the pitch the service advisor never delivers. To maintain the nitrogen purity level that produces even the marginal benefits measured by Consumer Reports, the tire must be topped up exclusively with nitrogen. Every time a nitrogen-filled tire loses pressure and needs topping, which it will because every tire loses pressure, regardless of what it is filled with, and the driver adds regular air from a petrol station compressor, the nitrogen purity drops. When purity drops below approximately 93%, the gas mixture inside the tire is functionally indistinguishable from regular air. The driver has paid for nitrogen. The nitrogen has been diluted back to near air composition by the first top-up from the free compressor down the road. And nitrogen top-up stations are not at every petrol station. They are at the shops that charge for them. The tire shop that sold you the initial nitrogen fill is also the most convenient location to maintain the purity level that makes the product worth having. Consumer Reports found only a 1.3 psi difference between air and nitrogen over the time frame of a year, and noted there is no scientific evidence that nitrogen helps with fuel economy, and that it is harder to find places to fill up with nitrogen. The escape is the free air compressor at any petrol station. The door jam sticker inside your driver's door lists the correct recommended cold inflation pressure for your specific vehicle, front and rear separately. A quality tire pressure gauge costs $8 at any auto parts store and lasts a decade. Checking your tire pressure once a month and inflating to the recommended figure with free air produces every measurable real-world benefit. that the $80 nitrogen service produces, and eliminates the inconvenience of having to find a nitrogen station every time a tire needs a top-up. The 1.3 psi difference that Consumer Reports measured over an entire year is addressed by a single monthly pressure check that takes under 3 minutes and costs nothing. The green valve cap costs $80. The black one is free. Under both of them is the same tire rubber, the same tire carcass, and the same road surface producing the same rolling resistance at the same correctly maintained pressure. The only difference is the invoice. Now you have the background. The air around you is 78% nitrogen. The air at the petrol station compressor is 78% nitrogen. The air that has been safely and effectively inflating vehicle tires for over 130 years is 78% nitrogen. The tire shop is charging you $80 to add more of what is already there. And the Consumer Reports study that ran for 12 months across 31 tire models found that after paying for that service, your tire held 1.3 psi more than if you had used the free compressor. 1.3 psi over an entire year. That is the product. If this video saved you $80 the next time you sit at a tire counter, subscribe and I will see you in the next one.